Hello, thank you for choosing to listen to Number One Rerun. We are Zoe and Carla, and each episode we get pop culture nostalgic after asking the listeners one simple question. Give us a date.
That's right, and this episode we are heading all the way back to the 7th of October 1982. So let's go. Hello, Zoe.
Hello, Carla. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And this is episode 1 of Number One Rerun.
I know. We're doing this.
We really are, at last.
I mean, we're giving it a go anyway, at least.
Well, yeah, I mean, it only took, the last 20 minutes to attempt to record the intro.
I'm a novice. You have to be gentle with me.
It wasn't even you that messed up, let's be honest.
That is fair.
But basically, to explain very briefly, it's a very simple concept to the show. Each episode, we will go back to a date in time. And from that date, we will tell you the number one single in the UK, the number one film in America. And then we will look at the TV schedules and we will each pick what our number one pick would have been for that day.
Can I stop you there? Because it's schedule, not schedule. For our American listeners, I guess it's schedule. But as you're English, you should be saying schedule.
I don't think I should, Zoe, because I don't live in Epsom.
Okay. If that's how they say it, okay.
We're not supposed to give away the exact location.
Well, you said Epsom, for God's sake.
I didn't give you a road. So going forward, we will be asking the listeners, which hopefully we'll have by then, to send us in our dates, either via the Facebook page or Instagram or Twitter. You can do that at any point. Don't wait for a call. You can just send them over to us and we will consider all of them. But for the first few, we've obviously gone with people that we know. And our first pick is from our friend Stacey. Now, a lot of you listening probably know Stacey as the co-host of the fantastic podcast Rough Giraffe. But not only is she a podcaster, and not only does she co-run the Britpod scene with me, she also designed our logo, which is fantastic, isn't it?
It's amazing. Our logo is amazing. I think we're probably going to find it's the best thing about the podcast.
I would say listen to the podcast whilst looking at the logo, and it might make you enjoy it more.
It might be marginally okay.
Yes. So thank you very, very much, Stacey, for doing that again. And the date Stacey has chosen for us to do, as we mentioned earlier, is the 7th of October 1982, which was the day she was born, the day that Stacey came into the world.
I think it's an excellent choice of date, and I'm glad we've started with an 80s date.
It makes me feel safe.
Exactly. I know it's your safe ground, so...
As you know, I felt very unsafe from the 1st of January 1990 until now.
Whereas I feel like I might be okay with those dates, so we might compliment each other on that.
Yeah. So first of all, 1982, we were, because we're the same age. When I say submit any dates, I should say from 1978 onwards. Sorry, that should have been clear because we're doing our lifetime.
And let's just be clear, we're not the same age. I think our listeners need to be fully aware of this. Actually, by the time these go out, we will be the same age.
At the moment, Zoe's clinging on to the last part of her 30s. It's a bit embarrassing to watch, if I'm being honest. But by the time you hear it, we will both be 40. We are doing from 1978 onwards. And it's funny, isn't it? Because when we were younger, I really enjoyed that I was 6 months older than you, and it really annoyed you.
Yeah.
Whereas now we've switched, and you're quite grateful for those 6 months. You cling to them.
I don't think anyone that knows you, full stop, Carla, would think that you're actually in your 40s now. When you dressed like Avril Lavigne from her skater boy days.
Not even Avril Lavigne now.
No, it's the skater boy years.
Right, so great number one on the day that Stacey was born. The number one single in the UK was Past the Duchy by Musical Youth. How'd you feel about that?
So I feel like I know the song. I feel like it passed me by a bit. I think of all of the 80s songs. I mean, it's a well-known one, but it's not I Want to Dance with Somebody, is it? It's no I Want to Dance with Somebody.
That's your barometer, isn't it? For
Yeah,
all
it is.
80s. That's what you expect it to come up to the standard of.
It is. It's my favourite. I think it's one of my favourite songs ever.
I know.
And I remember it being quite a repetitive song.
Yeah.
I think I've literally reached my limit of what I can say about this song.
Okay. Well, I had this on single.
Really? No, but you didn't buy it when you were 4. Don't give me that.
Here's the thing, right? That we used to tape every episode of Top of the Pops.
Mm-hmm. Standard.
I mean, at 4, we were, you hadn't started school at 4 in those days. I mean, now you're probably taking, some kind of exam at 4. But at 4, you were still, maybe nursery for the morning, but you were home. And there wasn't kids' TV all hours of the day like there is now. So my dad used to tape Top of the Pops each week, and I just used to watch the videos of Top of the Pops on a loop all the time.
At the age of 4?
Yeah. I used to watch Top of the Pops, and then I would tell my mum and dad what songs I liked, and they would go and buy them for me. I was an only child, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know why it was Thursday, because that's not a day that songs are released, but every Thursday I would come home from nursery and later school, and there would be a Woolies carrier bag, which is Woolworths for anyone in America, and it would be 4 or 5 singles that I'd said I'd liked. And this was one of them. So I've still got the single. I found it the other day.
On vinyl?
Yeah, that was all you could get then. Cassette singles didn't exist then.
Did they not?
No, cassette singles didn't come out till, mid-90s.
Really?
Maybe early 90s, but definitely not the 80s.
Who knew?
I liked the video because it was in London, and that's where I lived at the time.
Was it?
And it was filmed on Lambeth Bridge. Each time I go over Lambeth Bridge, I think of Musical Youth dancing away there.
Was this like pretty much their only song that did anything?
Yeah, I think they did have a couple of other minor hits. But I mean, it was very controversial because it was discovered that it was about drugs, and they just changed the name. I don't remember the original lyric. But the original lyric was past the, and then it was whatever. I
have Googled it. The track combined 2 songs, one called Gimme the Music and one called Past the Coochie. Coochie being slang for a cannabis pipe.
So when you think back, bit weird, because they were kids, but they changed it to Dutchie because it meant it was cooking pot, which made really little sense while they were passing that on the left-hand side.
It didn't make a whole lot of sense anyway, so changing that word is not going to...
Well, no, I think it would have made sense in context, because I do know that the lyric, how does it feel when you got no food, was how do you feel when you got no herb?
Oh, God, you're very educated on this song.
Only on this song,
Okay.
I must stress. I'm not educated on anything else in life other than Past the Duchy. So,
sorry, just going back to this whole getting whichever songs you liked thing. Have you kept all of those singles, and therefore do you have like a ridiculous number of singles from back in the day then?
So when I left home, I took probably not even half. My mum's still got the rest. My mum's got singles from the 60s, from like the Beatles and God knows what else. I mean, she's got all of, every single that her and my dad bought, she's got.
Really?
I don't think she particularly wants them. I just didn't want to throw them away. So I think we've covered everything we can on that. If you thought that wasn't a lot to say, wait till you get to the number one film.
Well, are we moving on to the number one film now?
I think so, unless you've got something to add.
No, I think I'm good. I'm about to make a declaration about the number one film that I'm ashamed of.
Okay, the number one film in America on this date was An Officer and a Gentleman. Come on.
Well, I did a bit of homework on this. I know, obviously, the main scene is, with the whole putting her, lifting her up and all that kind of thing.
Mm.
I was convinced it was Julia Roberts that was in this film, but it's not, is it?
No, because that was Pretty Woman.
I don't know, but I thought there were multiple films that they did together. And I know they did Pretty Woman and Runaway Bride.
Yeah, but you thought it started with this one.
Well, now you say it, it's true that I didn't even think it through. So that shows how much I know about this film.
Have you seen this film?
It's one of those ones that's been on like in the background that you've sort of not properly watched.
I have seen it. I don't remember it very well, I must admit. But I do remember that the soundtrack had Pat Benatar in, which I thought was really cool.
Yes. Have you still been listening to Pat Benatar recently?
Yeah, I love a bit of Pat Benatar, me. Her debut album, fantastic. So underrated. But the song, of course, it's most known for is Up There Where We Belong.
I think it's just Up Where We Belong, isn't it?
Something like that. It's one of those songs that always appears like on movie soundtrack albums.
Yes, it does. Is Pat Benatar still alive?
Yes, she is, alive and kicking.
Oh, okay.
She's still touring, but sadly, she only tours the US. Come over, Pat. I'd see you.
Maybe don't get her to book the O2, because I don't know that.
Start small. No, don't be silly, Pat. Start smaller.
Like the local pub, maybe.
Like Fairfield Hall when it reopens.
Anyway, that's very local. That's very local news.
Don't bother to Google it.
No. What I also found out when I was doing my homework is that it was directed by Helen Mirren's husband.
Oh.
But yeah, that's a little snippet, isn't it? I don't know what that is, but, I thought I'd just drop that in.
Trivia, that's what that is. So thank you for that.
Pleasure.
What do you feel about Richard Gere in general?
I've always thought he's a strange leading man. Do you know what I mean? He's fine. He's a bit suave. But, he's not my cup of tea.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of with you in that he's kind of good enough that if I saw him in a film, I'd probably watch it. But at the same time, it wouldn't make me rush out to watch it. Would you actually go, oh, I like Richard Gere, I like his work? Well, my favourite film that he's been in, Primal Fear. Great film.
Oh.
Primal Fear was the first film that Edward Norton starred in. It's like and Laura Lynn is in it. She's fantastic in it. It's such a good film. I've got the poster on my wall.
Have you? I never noticed that. Because I would have noticed it was a weird choice for you.
I just think it's a really, really good film, and it makes me look semi-intelligent because I've also got Airplane on the wall. So
I was going to say, until they look at the rest of the things that you've got on the wall.
I just put blinkers on people when they come in.
Yeah.
Just look at the Primal Fear one.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of that he was in was Chicago. Well, obviously, Runaway Bride and Pretty Woman, standard.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chicago.
Yeah.
And this. I'm trying to see what else he was in.
Well, my recommendation would be skip Officer and a Gentleman and watch Primal Fear.
Okay. An anecdote about Pretty Woman.
I
saw Pretty Woman. I've seen it loads of times, but I saw Pretty Woman. I did a foreign exchange, that you do when you're like 14, 15, with this girl in Germany.
Yep.
Because I did German. I was quite innocent. And we went round to this person's house and they were all smoking joints whilst watching Pretty Woman.
Were they passing him on the left-hand side?
Might have been. See, it all comes full circle. And I remember me and my friend sat there like not daring to move or inhale or anything for fear that, we would...
That is quite shocking, though.
What?
Well, you were exposed to that at 14.
Yeah, I might have been 15. But yeah, I was very innocent, so I still am.
What an odd combination. What weird stoners sitting watching Pretty Woman.
No, exactly. They were proper stoners as well.
That's the way they do it in Germany.
Apparently.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, sorry, back to Officer and a Gentleman.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, well, we say it if we've got nothing more to say on it.
We've got nothing more to say. Let's not milk it, Zoe.
Okay, fine. Move on.
So I think we've covered that film in depth enough.
Yeah. I mean, basically...
Go and listen to Pat Benatar instead.
I mean, yeah, that's what we can say. The best thing about it is the Pat Benatar song.
There you go.
Done. Next.
So we've had a look at the TV schedules, or schedules.
Schedules. I won't keep correcting you, but, you know, just know that every time you say it.
No, because it will grow tiresome. It's not going to be your catchphrase. Stop trying to make a catchphrase. Stop it.
Just know that every time you say it, I'll be thinking, she said that wrong.
So we both had a look and we've picked one show each, which we would choose as our favourite from that day, our number one pick. You want to go first for this one? What did you choose?
Sure. Well, so I went for Jackanory.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know Jackanory, for our American listeners, because I'm sure we're going to have thousands.
Oh, loads.
Yeah, easily, right. Jackanory was a programme that was on apparently started in the 60s, right through to the 90s, where basically they would read books to you. So different actors would read from a book.
Yeah.
I don't know what the point of it was. Was it to like get you to sleep, or I'm not really sure what?
Get you to sleep? Wasn't it on at like 4:00? What time was your bedtime?
Well, you know I had a strict upbringing.
You really did. I think it was to get you into books.
Okay. The reason I particularly chose this one is because the book that was being read that day was The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame, which was one of my favourite books when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it was being read by Bernard Cribbins. Now, Bernard Cribbins, again, quite a topical UK name, but he was this bloke. I don't really. What was he famous for? He was an.
Americans will know him from being in 40 Towers. He was in a 40 Towers episode. So that's probably the only place they would know. He played the guy that they thought was the hotel inspector, but he actually sold spoons. So if you're wondering who he is, you'll definitely know him from that.
Yeah, I think he used to do a lot of the Jackanories because he had this great. Well, he still. Oh, is he dead? I think he might be dead. Maybe not.
Hopefully not.
No, I don't think he is actually. No, he's still alive. I think he's 89.
Aww.
He has this great voice. He's got this real like character voice. I don't know how to explain it.
Expressive.
Yeah, really expressive.
I used to like it when Beryl Reid used to read a story. Do you remember Beryl Reid?
Oh, yes, I do.
Kenneth Williams used to do Jackanory as well. He was great.
See, he's another one with a great voice.
Yeah. I think they were really good at picking good actors to do it. And they were very big stars for the time as well.
Yeah. Just on the Wind in the Willows subject.
Yeah.
I liked that book so much that I once dressed up as Toad of Toad Hall for school.
So, when you text me that last night, honestly, I laughed by myself for at least the following 2 hours. Well, I mean, was it even a no uniform day?
No, okay. Let me just explain. At my school, my first junior school, they had book day and the kids dress up as their favourite character. Whether this was what they did back in the day or whether it was just my school taking it a step further.
Or just your mum having a laugh.
It could be. We used to dress up as a character, and then we'd read an excerpt from the book dressed up as a character. So it'd be like a school show. It was a show that we put on, and whoever did the best like reading or whatever won the show.
Did you win?
I don't think so, but my mum was amazing at fancy dress costumes. In fact, funnily enough,
you're wearing it now.
No. I had these like green like jodhpur things and a tweed waistcoat and a flat cap, and like the driving goggles that Toad wore. I had those on top of my flat cap. Yeah. Some of the fancy dress outfits my mum made were amazing. So one outfit she made was I was a Malteser pack. and my sister was the Malteser that got away.
That's really good.
Yeah, another outfit was I was Morph. Do you remember Morph?
Yeah, who doesn't remember Morph?
Yeah. Morph was, again, for those who don't know, was this like plasticine, like Wallace and Gromit. He was like this plasticine character. I was Orville at one point.
Love Orville.
It was 1984 or 1985, and she dressed half of me in 1924 or 25 outfit, so like a flapper outfit, and the other half in 1984 or 85 as a punk.
Wow.
That was my fancy dress costume. And then my mum said the other day, she's like, people must have really hated me. And she said, I was that mum, wasn't I? And I was like, yep, you were. Because they were amazing, these outfits that she created.
Oh, I never knew that about your mum.
Yeah, she's very creative. Very creative.
Okay, no, that's a fair choice. So I went with Play School.
Oh, I loved that programme.
Play School was amazing.
Yeah.
My favourite presenter was Floella Benjamin.
Oh, I loved Floella Benjamin.
I just absolutely adored her. I loved, because she used to have those really like cool dreadlocks.
Yeah.
I just loved it. I just loved everything about Floella. She was just my absolute hero. She's a baroness now.
Is she?
Yeah. It's great, because she does a lot of charity work and stuff.
Of course she does, because it's Floella.
Because she's great. Yeah. She's just great.
Amazing, yeah.
So, there was other presenters, but I really predominantly remember her above the rest of them. And they just used to hang around with, like, these toys. Can you name them?
Big Ted and Little Ted, Humpty. Was it Jemima?
And then there's another one.
Bramble.
So, yeah, I used to love it. It was just a really great show, and you had to they used to like make you look, anyone listening that's never seen this probably thinks it sounds rubbish, but you had to look through a different window every day. So it was the square window, the arch window, or the round window. Did you ever guess it right, which window they were going to go for? I never did.
I can't say I ever tried.
I did. I used to shout it out. And my mum used to say, never mind, there's always tomorrow.
Oh, always encouraging your parents.
Yeah, for a stupid kid that can't even get a 1 in 3 chance. I didn't even know what arch meant. When it used to say like round window, square window, arch window. Arch is quite a complex word for someone that's not even at school.
What would you call it? A bay window? It's more of a bay window, no?
Are you saying Floella was wrong?
No, I would never say Floella was wrong.
Stupid.
And they used to sing songs, didn't they? Remember, because when they went through the window, wasn't that normally to watch some kind of VT of like kids playing or something? So
you normally watched the VT, and it was mildly educational. So they would like show you, I don't know, what kids did at school, I suppose, which was to prep you for going to school, or like, zoos and stuff. I remember once they went through the window and they showed a market, and I saw my pushchair in the market. Not literally.
I was going to say, for your parents,
Your dad had only gone and sold it while I was watching Play School. No, I saw a pushchair that was like mine, and I remember running into the kitchen to get my mum, and I brought her out to show her that my pushchair was on the telly. And I'll never forget, because she just chuckled and she said, telly will just carry on. You can't make it stop just because you want me to look at something. And now...
Wow. Little did she know.
She feels really stupid now.
I bet she does. I bet you tell her it every day.
I'm permanently pausing her telly when I go around there. I'm like, eat your words, woman. I've been waiting since I was 3 years old. But yeah, I just really wanted to see it, and I was so crushed that I think I even said to the telly, stay there or something, and it didn't.
Bless your heart. It'd be cute if it wasn't a bit sad, wouldn't it?
So, yeah, I think that's all I've got to say on Play School for the time being.
Okay. All I can say is I remember really liking Humpty.
He just always looked really uncomfortable, propped up on everything. You know what I mean?
No.
Well, because he didn't mould like the others. Like, you know,
Okay. He was quite
Campbell
upright.
was like, you know, like a plastic doll, so you could kind of mould her. And what was the other one? Jemima. She was a rag doll. So again, you could kind of sit her up properly. And obviously the teddy bears were the old-fashioned teddy bears where you could sit them. But like Humpty was just always kind of leaning he just looked really uncomfortable all the time.
That's fair. Well, you know what's going through my head? I was thinking again, for our thousands of American listeners, they had, you know, Sesame Street, and we had Play School. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's...
I mean, they didn't even move, these toys.
I know.
And it wasn't even as if they pretended that they moved. Like, they just sat there completely stationary.
No, them were the days.
So I think we've covered everything you could possibly need to know about the 7th of October, 1982.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we've done is we've taken people back, haven't we?
We really
it's as
have.
if they were there in the room at the time, because we've painted such a clear picture through our extensive knowledge of that day.
Yeah.
That
probably emotional for some people, I'd imagine, reliving it in that detail.
Stacey will be sitting there listening to this, weeping with joy at how much we've embraced her birthday.
Yes. I can tell her it was a Thursday, if she didn't know. I did bother to look that up.
Oh, I think she probably knew that.
Yeah. So, Zoe, do you want to tell us where everyone can find us on social media?
Yes, Carla. So people can find us on all of the main social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter or Instagram at Number One Rerun, or they can contact us, can't they, Carla? What's the email address?
Yes, if you want to email us and send in some dates for us, you can email us on numberonererun@hotmail.com.
Simple. No excuse not to.
That's 4 different ways you can get in contact with us.
Exactly.
And we are also the proud creators of Britpod Scene, which is a collective of British podcasts. Please head to britpodscene.com, where you'll see a list of all our shows, or you can follow Britpod Scene on Twitter, where everything we retweet are the shows that we endorse.
Carla is obviously quite, modest about this, but she also has another podcast called Theme Park Films Podcast that she does with Holly. And that podcast is, the premise of it is that she talks about films that have rights. But the reality is that she talks about films that she likes to talk about. Isn't that fair?
It's very fair.
Yeah. And Holly just kind of has to go along with it until she's thrown a bone every now and again to talk about what she wants to talk about. But I do listen to it and I thoroughly endorse it. It's very funny. Even if you don't know Carla and Holly, they are like a double act. So well worth a listen.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you for that. I don't like to talk about myself, as you know, so I could never have done that.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
So thank you very, very much for listening. And hopefully we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Number One Rerun podcast is part of Britpod Scene, an independent network of uniquely British podcasts that's always growing. Check out britpodscene.com or follow Britpod Scene on Twitter to find out more.